Big Sills! National Football Show. Appreciate you guys coming aboard. Thank you very much. So Doc Rivers, and I'm going to reach out to Doc Rivers. Doc's been on our program before. He's calling out basically Joel Embiid in a nice way. He's got to show up every night, and he's got to be more of a leader if he wants to be Joker. Wow. And the environment, he was kind of hinting around at the environment. Everything we've been saying about the 76ers, Doc Rivers said, environment's not the best. The star player doesn't play every night. He's worried about winning the MVP, and he doesn't make anybody better around him. That's Joel Embiid. Joel Embiid will never lift the Bill Russell trophy. Doc was talking to Bill Simmons. Hey, man, some guys are just built that way. When Embiid won the MVP, I told you there's going to be a letdown. When Bryce Harper won the MVP, there was an uptick. Certain guys respond in a positive way. Joel thought the season was over when he won the Most Valuable Player award. Gets hurt? Of course he does. Of course he does. Everybody gets hurt in Philly. Everybody gets hurt in Philly. Everybody. So what do? You draft a guy who has an attitude like the culture of your building. Doesn't want to show up every night. Okay? Sixers keep coddling their stars. We need that Larry Brown, Allen Iverson energy back in the building. Yeah, what you have to have is Spoelstra in the building. A true leader that is allowed to be a guy. Pat Riley would never allow Joel Embiid. And by the way, Joel Embiid wouldn't play like that in Miami. Get this, LeBron James can't play like that. LeBron James can't handle the Heat culture. That's championship culture down there. That's a championship culture. Dr. Buss and Jerry West and Pat Riley. How about that three-headed horse when it was Showtime in Los Angeles? Everyone always goes, it was Showtime Lakers. Well, they did have Dr. Buss and Jerry West and Pat Riley as the three dudes. I don't know. Mitch Kupchak was in the building too, helping Jerry West. Supposed to be the heir apparent when it came to putting talent around the team. I mean, it starts with your building. So if I were Eagle fans, I wouldn't worry about the Commanders because Josh Harris owns them. I wouldn't worry about it. They have no chance of winning. Larry Brown would call out Iverson without fail. Made him better. No one wants to be the bad guy in the Wells Fargo Center. Hey, dude, if I pay you $700 billion and you're a baby, I'm paying the wrong guy. Hey, dude, so you don't respect me. Excuse me? You're on a max deal. Shut your fucking mouth. Shut your fucking mouth. What do you mean I don't respect you? I gave you a max deal. I signed off on it. I don't have to sit here and kiss your ass. This is about winning. Dude, respect. Hey, don't worry what people say to you. Worry about how they treat you and how they deliver for you. Paychecks. Attaboys? Dog. I told my aunt this, if I had $1 for every attaboy or how great I was, whatever, I wouldn't be talking to you today. You would Big Sills would be on an island somewhere that he bought. Everything we said that. Hey, one thing though here with Doc. Hey Doc, you're part of the rowboat too, though. You know, you're in the rowboat too. You know, you got to go down with the ship too. It's your rowboat. They put all you in it too. You know, you don't get to go like Captain Smith on the Titanic and not. I mean, you got to go down with the boat too. You know what I mean? You can't jump off on the iceberg. And Tone just goes, I need a shut your effing mouth. Sorry, Aunt Betty, on a t-shirt. Dude, I pay you. I pay you. That's my respect for you. You don't respect me. Dude, do I pay you $45 million a year? Yeah. Excuse me. What? What, because I have harsh language? And I talk to you a little harsh? You don't think I like you? But I gave you $45 million and $250 million in guaranteed money. That is so nutty. That's what, maybe I'm jealous of the NBA guy. Okay? Nick, what do I think about Nick Nurse? I don't know. Will he connect? We'll see. We'll see. Before I get to Howie Roseman here, I see that the Rams moved around some of Cooper Kupp's money. So what they did was they freed up $10.44 million. To me, that's Dalvin Cook or DeAndre Hopkins. Why on June 14th are you freeing money up? I've not quite seen that before. You usually do it before free agency or you do it before the draft. You don't do it before training camp unless you're eyeballing someone. Dalvin Cook has made it very clear he's in no hurry to sign, rightfully so. Why should he sign right away? You know why? The market doesn't have a lot of money in it right now because most teams are pushed to the cap. That the Rams are trying to figure a way out to get him. I wouldn't be shocked if the Rams are trying to figure out a way to get both Cook and Hopkins in the building because that would make them formidable. Cooper Kupp, DeAndre Hopkins, Dalvin Cook, you're pretty good. Aaron Donald on the other side, you're light in the corners still, but the Rams in the NFC, trade goes Rams stink. Not with DeAndre Hopkins and Cooper Kupp and Dalvin Cook, you wouldn't suck. No, you would not. No, you would not. That's a lie. Okay? Actually, if Hopkins doesn't get hurt, he's on the pace to have a better year than A.J. Brown. He was more productive per game than what A.J. Brown was. Divide the numbers up. It's very simple. So, and Cook, like Najee Harris said, what did Cook do wrong not to be a part of the Vikings? You know what Dalvin Cook did that was wrong in Minnesota? He just made too much money. He's fired because he made too much money. That's what happens. Najee Harris is right. The position, get this, if the Eagles couldn't run the ball, you're not winning the Super Bowl because you don't have the RPO system. Run. It's not pass-run option. It's run-pass option. Your RPO is based off the running game, not the passing game. So, I mean, you don't get to the Super Bowl. Sounds like an Eagles candidate. Hey, did you hear Dalvin Cook only wants $5 million? Jeez. Howie, you got $13 million in money. I know you probably need a linebacker right now, and I get that. You need a linebacker. But you'd still have $9 million, and I can't think how he's going to spend $8 million or $6 or $5 million on a potential linebacker. Do you? You would still have roughly around $7 million in cap space during the season in case a disaster happened. I mean, Dalvin Cook said he'll take $5 million. I don't know how he's not in Kansas City. $5 million? So you mean to tell me I could get Dalvin Cook cheaper than Miles Sanders? Miles Sanders is a one-year wonder. Dalvin Cook has been a year after year producer, and he really doesn't carry the ball much. 213 a year, not a ton. That's not 300 carries like you see the guy in Tennessee. I don't have a problem with it. I mean, I don't. $5 million? Well, put $1 million in incentives on it? I don't know. I mean, I'd feel more comfortable with Dalvin Cook in my backfield. Can you imagine Dalvin Cook in that Eagle offense? Again, I'm playing Madden here a little bit probably, but geez, oh man, there's nothing to defend. Dalvin Cook and DeAndre Swift in your backfield, and there's no weakness on the entire offense. It's a Pro Bowl team. He's been healthier than what we have. Absolutely. Dalvin Cook is a stud, man. Played all 17 games last year. Had a great season. Minnesota's got a good line, not spectacular. Behind that line, Dalvin Cook would lead the NFL in rushing. Hey, so wait a minute here. Think about this, Tone, everyone. So if you had a guy lead the NFL in rushing on this year's team, how far do you think you'd go? You don't have anybody on that group that's going to lead the NFL in rushing. How far do you think the Eagles would go if you had a running back on your team that led the NFL in rushing? You think you beat Kansas City? 2 minutes left in a game? You just keep feeding him the ball? That ain't Miles Sanders running the contact. Dalvin Cook runs to the end zone. I mean, your running back position is an open competition. Your right guard position is open. Your linebacking core is open. Your safety position is like what John said, open. By the way, Dick Vermeil even said it. What we said the other day, your biggest challenge is your schedule. You could actually be a better team this year, not have the same record. I've been saying that. Vermeil went on IP this morning and said, their schedule, man, it's a brutal schedule. You're playing against great quarterbacks and elite teams in the AFC. Hey, if I were to put, watch this, where would I put the Eagles would I put the Eagles still second in the NFL? Combining, where would I put them in the AFC? I'd put them second. Where would I put the second best team in the NFC? Let's see. In the NFC, and we're just playing here with Eagles 2. Eagles 2. Chiefs 1. Bengals 3. Bills 4. Jags 5. Are the Cowboys going to be better than the Jets with Aaron Rodgers? Are the Cowboys going to be better than the Chargers? Niners? Okay, I'll tell you what. I'll go with Tone. Niners 5. Then Jags 6. Maybe Cowboys 7. Then the Ravens. Are the Cowboys going to be better than the Ravens? I don't know. The Dolphins? The Broncos? I think the Broncos, we're going to talk about the divisions here. The AFC's got spectacular teams. All right, that's enough. Let's go. I want to do something here that every general manager. I had a great conversation last night with Kevin Colbert. I go, Kevin used to be the general manager of the Pittsburgh Steelers. He's been on here numerous times. And I asked him, what do most GMs like Howie Roseman, what is he doing right now as he gets ready for camp? You know what he said to me? Oh, I'm looking at 2024 already. Because I pretty much have what I'm going to have right now going into the July camp. And I'm going to be looking at certain positions. But part of my day is looking at the longevity of the team. And I had never done this before. And so we did this last night together. I had Kevin Colbert, general manager, Pittsburgh Steelers, for 17 years and was an executive in Detroit, help me with this. And this is about the Eagles. Let's start it off on defense. And I'll show you where we're going here with this. Sounds a little confusing. It's not. Left defensive end, Brandon Graham, has 1 year left. You're going to have to replace that position. Who are you replacing him with? Are you going into the draft next year? He's got 1 year left for left defensive end. Who are you putting out there next year? You're going to have to replace that. You got 1 year at that left defensive end position. Left DT position. Jordan Davis, he's either going to be a 3-year deal or a 3-year guy or a 10-year guy. It's still up in the air. So what you do is you circle this with a question mark. You don't know. That's why they drafted multiple D tackles in consecutive drafts. You either got a 3-year guy there, which means he's a bust, or you got a 10-year guy. Your right DT position, you got 1 year left. Fletcher Cox is gone. And we're waiting. There's no question mark on Carter. Not yet. We have to see him play. We don't know what we have yet. We're all assuming that he's going to be a star player. Okay. So Carter, no question mark. We have to wait and see. And Fletcher can man it this year, but he's gone. Josh Sweat. How many years do you think Josh Sweat has in the building at NovaCare? 8? I think Josh Sweat is a solidified right defensive end. I think the Eagles are pretty good at that position. I might even switch him over to left defensive end if he can play multiple ends, and I might even rotate him around. Okay? So Sweat, I love. I think he's got 8 years left of really great football. So to me, I'm really great with the right defensive end. Morrow, 1 year deal if he makes the team. You'll have to replace that next year. Nakobe Dean, it's either a 1 year deal or an 8-year career. Question mark. You don't know. Big time question mark so far at your left defensive tackle position and your middle linebacker. Wow. Right up the heart of your team. Like John McMullen said, how he's looking at that right now. You either have a good player there at Nakobe Dean and a good player with Davis, or you got to go back into the draft in 2 years. And you bomb there. The future of your defense is truly riding on, or at least, how about this? The middle of your defense is riding on Dean and Davis to be productive. Because if they're not, you failed. You bombed. That's a question mark. It's either a 1 year career or an 8-year career. Yet to be determined. Question mark. Reddick. How many years do you think Reddick has left? How old is Reddick, by the way? How old is Hassan Reddick? I'm saying Reddick, how many? But you have like an outlier here. You have Nolan Smith that is waiting in the wings here. He's 28. I'd say production-wise, Reddick's probably got 3 great years left. So in 3 great years, you don't have to really do much. Entering his 2nd year of his 3-year deal with the Eagles, I would say this to you. If I see Reddick midway point and he's got 8 sacks, and he's got like something like 8 sacks, in my opinion, I'm extending him a year. Maybe 2. I might extend him, restructure his contract, because he would have been awful productive. That would mean like, you're talking like 9, 20, 21, 22, 23. I mean, the guy would have 24 sacks in like a year and a half. I don't know. I'm going to extend that. Not going to go crazy extending it because he'll be 31 at the end of the deal. But I think he's probably got, 3 great years left? How many years do you think Bradbury has left? What is he like? Also 28? I would say Bradbury's got 3 years. You're going to have to replace your cornerback. Probably in 3 years. Maybe 2. especially with the money that we're talking about with Bradbury. Bradbury's 30. Wow, that's 2 years. In 2 years, this year and maybe next year, you're going to have to replace this guy. You're going to have to replace these corners. Slay's got 1 year. He ain't playing. How many people really believe Slay will be on this football team next year? I do not. Okay? So in the next 2 years, you're going to have to replace both corners. I mean, this is quite a little job coming up here. Howie's going to Howie's got a lot of work to do here. Okay? A lot of work to do. Blankenship. That's a 1-year deal, man. I don't think he's a player. I think he's okay. I don't think he's really good. I think he's okay. I think he makes spot plays. He makes flash plays. He's somebody that is very replaceable, and I'm looking to upgrade my team on. Now, look, you can't have superstars at every position. John's right. Blankenship, though, I'm replacing that guy as fast as I can. Now, look, you got Sidney Brown back there. The kid Edmonds. The kid Edmonds is either going to play 1 year or 2 years here. He ain't playing more than 3. You got that kid Brown back there. You're hoping Brown wins the job. And you're hoping Brown gets one of those safety jobs, takes the job from Blankenship. That's what I'm hoping, because I want to get rid of Blankenship. I don't think he's very good. I think he's okay. So at the end of the day, in the next 2 years, you're going to have to replace both corners. This is what Howie's doing right now. Kevin Colbert and I were talking. I mean, you're going to have to replace both corners. Probably both safeties, but you got Brown in the draft. Your linebacking core, depending on what Dean does, you're going to replace everyone there in the next year. Reddick's there probably 2 more years, 3 more years. Sweat's solidified on defense. I think he's an 8-year guy. Fletcher's out. Carter hopefully steps in for him. Davis, either a 3-year career or 10-year career. And Graham's gone. There's a lot of work to do in the offseason on this defense. More work to do this coming offseason than what Howie did this year. And you're going to get a lot younger and a lot less experienced next year. There's a lot of work to do. And that's why they're drafting on that side of the ball so heavily, because they know what's coming. They have a lot of high-priced guys on that offensive side, and they've got a lot of nickel and dime guys on this defensive side, and they're getting away with it. Something Hugh Douglas says all the time. I'm not so sure you have to have a superstar defense any longer in the NFL to win. Okay? I'm not so sure. A.J. Brown is older than Jason Peters. A.J. Brown's 25 years old. Let's go to the offense now. Quarterback, Jalen Hurts. Here's Tone. You're so right. Howie is taking as many shots on defense in the draft as he can to prepare for what's to come. Oh, my God. Look at that. Graham will be replaced. Fletcher will be replaced. Morrow will be replaced. Dean possibly could be replaced. Both corners will be replaced. Safety, one of the safeties will be replaced. You got a lot of work to do in the offseason. Got to have a great year. Got to have a great year. And you're not deep. So what you're looking at right now, you're pretty old in some of the key positions and underperforming in some of them. Corners are great, but they're old. What happens when you're old in the NFL? You make too much money. You can't have 2 32-year-old cornerbacks on your team making $15 million playing center field for you when your linebacking core is atrocious and you have no depth. Do you understand why you have no depth on defense? Is because you're paying your offense. You got a couple key positions, your corner, your edge rusher. You gave Fletcher 10. Hassan makes 15. There's not a lot of money spent on this side of the ball. Okay? Offensive side. Slade will be gone after this year. He is gone. That's why they gave him all that money up front in the offseason here. That's why they gave that money to him. Here's the offense now. Boy, I tell you what, Howie has a ton of rebuilding to do in this coming offseason. He's going to be back at it again. They're going to draft I would make a gamble that they draft a linebacker potentially in the first round next year. It's a pretty good group. And maybe what they do is they trade up to get the kid from Clemson, Trotter Jr. Somebody like that on a team. You bring Trotter Jr. in. I think he's a top 10 kid. And I don't believe the Eagles are going to be anywhere near the top 10. Okay? But they're going to have, 14 picks next year? Maybe you trade up and you do whatever you can to get as close as you can to get Trotter. Trotter's going to be a big time. And again, the linebacking position, he may fall because, get this, a lot of people look at the linebacking position and don't value it like that. Are you going to draft a linebacker at 9 in the NFL today when you know you need corners and you know you need edge rushers? Are you going to put a guy at 9, middle linebacker or an inside linebacker like that? Are you going to take him? He's a spectacular player. Dabo Sweeney is friends with mine. He's been on the program 5 or 6 times, and he swears by the kid. He says he's one of the best players we've ever had at Clemson. Okay? Debo goes DT at 9. I'm taking Jalen Carter because he's the best guy in the draft. Trotter's not the best player in the draft. There's a couple guys. The quarterback from USC, they say, and the wide receiver at Ohio State, Harrison Jr., are arguably your 2 best guys. And the kid Drake at UNC, there's a couple edge rushers too from Ohio State and one from Florida State that are going to be ranked higher than him. So Trotter, I'm not taking Trotter when he's the 14th best player in the draft or the 11th best player in the draft. At 7, you're overdrafting again. What I try to tell you, you overdraft. And now everyone is coming to the point and to the understanding of what I said when you drafted. I didn't hate the pick of Jordan Davis. I never hated it. It's a great pick. Not at 13, though. He was either going to, and I said it, that he's either going to be Vince Wilfork or Fletcher. Well, he's more Wilfork. It's okay. Vince was a first rounder too. Okay. Let's do the offense now. Jalen Hurts plays it right, doesn't get hurt. You're looking between 8 and 10 years at that position. You're pretty set there, the most important position. It's a key to what you're going to do the rest of the way out. Swift, is he a 1-year guy or 3-year guy? Will they replace him next year? The way that they move running backs around in Philly? Why would I believe that DeAndre Swift is going to be a guy that will be here 2-3 years? Why? Why would I believe that? If they don't value the position and his contract is up at the end of the year and he has a great year, they just went through that with Miles. Swift's deal's up this year at the end of the season. Why would they give him a contract? Because he had a good year? Well, the guy in Carolina had a spectacular year. Had one of the best years in Eagle history running the ball. They didn't give him 7. What would make you think they're going to keep Swift? He's going to want money, especially if he has a great year. Are you replacing him? Probably. A.J. Brown. How many years do you think A.J. Brown has as an Eagle left? 3? He's 25. That'd be 28. You're going to pay a 28-year-old guy $30 million to play wide receiver? Especially if Devontae continues to grow. Why would I pay A.J. Brown? So I'm going to pay him $30 million at 28. Right? Devontae continues to get better. Still on a rookie deal. Then you take that $20 million and you slide it over to Smith. You're not going to have, when his contract is up 24, what do you think you're going to have two $30 million wide receivers? Where's that in the NFL anywhere? You think you're going to pay two guys $30 million? Kansas City just told the guy who's now down in Miami, see you. So, see Ray here? Salary cap goes up about $18 million a year. Ray thinks that you're going to have a $51, $52 million quarterback and two dudes making $60 million combined. Look at this. 51. Now, Jalen's cap hits. There's a lot of money going to have to be paid out. $60 million for the two receivers, 24. Okay. $30 million, your two tackles. It's $147 million on a $250 million cap in 2 years. You got $100 million to fill out the rest of the team. Center, guards, running backs, tight end. Then you got to go defense. Then you got to go special teams. Then you got to go backups. Interesting how people see that. This is a salary cap league. Okay? And they did do a great job on Jalen's contract. Look at what you're looking at here. If you've ever been into a general manager's room, he's got two boards, the money board and the contract board on how many years are left on his contract with his incentives. And you're looking at potential upgrades on what you're doing with you're constantly looking and scouring rosters to try to upgrade in case someone's cut. You never, ever want to get caught not claiming a guy or getting a guy that ends up getting whacked from some team and turns out to be a guy who could play for you. That's right, Yale. It's like three-dimensional chess, man. Completely true. You're not only thinking about the next move, you're thinking about the next move in the next game that maybe if I set him up this way, he won't make that play in game two. Absolutely. You've got to have such great thinking and how you look forward. You know, I heard Howie Roseman on that Mike Florio podcast. And you know what he said? If you're copying a team now, you're too late. You got to be ahead of the trend. You got to be ahead of the trend. Devontae Smith, I think, has got a 10-year career in Philly. I would say this to you. I wouldn't be shocked if Devontae Smith plays his entire career in Philadelphia. I would not be shocked. Team loves him. Community loves him. He's a hard worker. He's an example to me of what you want on your football team, and he's a Brandon Graham future. That's the kind of guy in your offense that's going to be a tone setter and an example of how you prepare yourself each and every single Sunday is Devontae Smith. He is a guy that A.J. Brown got better from. Okay? I'm doing everything in my power, including if I have to move A.J. Brown. Devontae Smith is more valuable to me in the future than what A.J. Brown will be. Common sense. Younger. More technically sound. Jalen's going to get better technically. And Jalen is going to make someone else. By the way, have you not noticed? Let's just say you didn't have A.J. Brown. Well, shit, man. For $6 million, I can go get D-Hop? Okay. I'm not losing that much. Now, look. AJ's gifted. He is. I'm not dismissing him. He's a gifted guy. Goddard. I'd say Goddard's got 5 quality years left. I really like him. Nose for the end zone. Plays hard. Man. Again, drops 1 out of every 3. Makes me sick because he could be better. He's closer to Gronk than Travis Kelce. He's a prototype for me. I don't want Travis Kelce as my tight end. Unless I have Tom Brady or I have Joe Burrow, or like somebody like Justin Herbert, I think he's the perfect tight end for the RPO offense. He's involved in the run game. He goes after linebackers. He's a better player than Zach Ertz. Goddard's a better player. Zach Ertz is a better pass-catching tight end. But Ertz, again, his yak was horrific. One of the things in criticisms, this guy, every time he caught the ball, I've never seen a guy go down easier than him. Not even Jay Novacek. Constantly went down. Easy. One-arm tackles, all kinds of shit like that. I always thought that Zach Ertz was not very good after the catch. And in theory, the Goddard elevation to starting has been an upgrade. Dallas Goedert has been an upgrade at tight end, especially when you're talking RPO. Okay? Especially when we're talking the RPO style. Now, if they get away from that, look, see, to me, Travis Kelce is going to be classified as a tight end. I'm sorry. Who in their right mind would take Travis Kelce over Gronk? Nobody. Who would you be more in fear of? The guy that can knock your dick in the dirt, blocking you, or the guy who has insane hands, that's 6'7", 265, 270? What guy coming down the middle of the field frightens you more? Travis Kelce or Rob Gronkowski? Dude, he's going to set the tone for you too, because he's going to he may not have a great pass-catching game, but he's going to take care of your DE. Travis Kelce can't block a defensive end. He can't block Micah Parsons or Hassan Reddick. He can't do any of that. Dallas Goedert can. Okay? Dallas Goedert can. Brent Jones is a great comparison to Travis Kelce and to somebody like Zach Ertz. Yeah, that's good, man. Brent Jones, something like that. That guy Franks they used to have there too in San Francisco with Montana. He was another one of those guys like that. Like, he wasn't a Bavaro. See, Bavaro just didn't get the targets because that wasn't the Giant offense. They didn't throw the ball a lot. But what's crazy, that Giant offense, shit, what was it? Mark Jackson was the receivers and a bunch of nobodies that I can even remember. It was Bavaro, the run game, Joe Morris, O.J. Anderson, and that O-line in Sims. And then it was that spectacular defense. And they won 2 Super Bowls. They terrorized people, including the Eagles. It was crazy, man. Bavaro, man, he was a Eagle killer. Every time he lined up against them, man, he had big games. I like Dallas. I'd say this, Dallas Goedert's probably got 5 years. Okay? Jordan Mailata. What can you say, man? Hey, watch this. Can I tell you what a great place you're in if you're the Eagles? Watch this here. Jordan Mailata. How long do I think he could play there at that position? Hey, do me a favor. Tell me what his age is. What's Jordan Mailata's age? Not that it really matters with O-linemen, because O-linemen, they mature later than defensive tackles do and defensive ends. So it really kind of doesn't matter. You could be 35 and still a spectacular player in the offensive line. So he's like 25-ish. Does that sound about right? So he's like 25-ish. Jordan Mailata's got a 10-year career, barring any kind of crazy injuries. He's 26. He's got a 10-year career. He's got 10 years, man. Here's something else which even makes it more insane. You got Landon Dickerson. I think he's got a 10-year career. Your left side could go down for the next 10 years, the next decade, with the same 2 players that could eventually have conversation if they play like I think they can play for Hall of Fame consideration. I mean, you're talking Upshaw and Shell kind of shit. Upshaw and Shell played together all them years on the left side of the Raider offense. Why do you think the Raiders were so dominant for so many years? They had a Hall of Fame center, they had a Hall of Fame left guard, and they had a Hall of Fame left tackle. And they had Henry Lawrence on the right side and Villa at right guard. That offensive line that they had in Oakland was better than anything they had in Pittsburgh. Was better than anything they had in Dallas during that era. The Raiders had Hall of Famers all over the O-line. It was like what the Eagles are. Completely unbelievable. I will always make sure those big fellows up front get paid. That's a non-negotiable for him. Well, and get this. That's not just words what Tone's saying. This is reality. You got two guys that could play 10 years on your blind side of your quarterback. One thing is for sure, you'll never have a left-handed quarterback in the building. That left side, there's not a team in the NFL right now that could say that they got two guys that could play the next decade. Think about that. To the year 2033, you'd be talking about replacing these guys. It's crazy. Kelsey, 1 year, he's done. Hey, whether you think Juergens just slides in, it's not the point. You're replacing him. So you got to replace the center and hope you hit. Let me say something about playing center. You know what they're going to do to Cam Juergens when he gets that job? They're going to put a nose right on him. And we're going to find out if he can play it. I don't know he can play. I have no idea. He looks the role. We'll see. We shall see. You think you're going to go from one Hall of Fame center to another? You're out of your tree. How many centers have made the Hall of Fame in the last 20 years? 2? 1? Kevin Mawai and who? Can you name me another center in the last 20 years that made the Hall of Fame? It's one of the hardest positions. Who? Let me see. Name me one other than Kevin Mawai, center, that made the Hall of Fame. 20 years. It's not that easy to replace a guy that's been a fixture in your building. Okay? It's not that easy. So, and now, if you're moving Juergens over, is Jeff Saturday a Hall of Famer? Is he? Jeff Saturday's a Hall of Famer? Because I don't think he is. If he is, I said 20 years. Mike Webster, okay, retired before that. Hey, Joshua, because he played with Manning, he might be. I don't know. But I don't ever remember debating Jeff Saturday. So now you're going to have to replace the right guard next year too, right? So next year you got to replace your center and right guard. Whew. Okay, so in your O-line, how many years do you think Lane Johnson has? 3? 2? I say Lane Johnson has 2 years left. So, after this year, Howie Roseman's got to replace his entire, or almost 3/4 of his entire right side of his O-line. You draft a kid from Alabama, you're praying he steps into, but he's not really a tackle. Isn't he kind of in the room to kind of take Lane's job? Okay. Once again, Danny, 20 years. I know centers who are in the Hall of Fame. Okay. And Dwight had his career cut short because of a cheap shot back in the 90s. So they got to replace pretty much in the next 3 years the entire right side of their offensive line. That's why you got Jeff Stoutland in the building. Absolutely. I completely agree. In the next 3 years, you'll replace your center, right guard, and your right tackle. So what do you think your Hall of Fame, or what do you think your Super Bowl window is? This is going to be a different team in 3 years. A lot younger. Right side's different. Your left side is spectacular. And you got to put this into consideration. So your entire left side will have Goddard, Mailata, and Dickerson. Whew, man, you got to replace your running back. 2 years, you'll replace A.J. Brown. You're probably going to replace your running back. And you got Hurts for 10 years. There's a lot of work to do. There's more work to do this coming offseason. I didn't realize that. There's a lot of work to do, man. In the next 2 years, this football team will be completely different. You'll have new safeties, new corners, probably an entirely new linebacking room. Reddick will be around. Sweat will be around. Carter and Davis will be around, and that's it. On offense, you'll have Hurts, Devontae, Goddard, Mailata, Dickerson. Lane, I'm assuming. You're going to lose a lot of experience in the next 2 years. So Howie's looking at that now. That's why you've been loaded up heavy in the draft on that side of the ball. See, and I'm 12 draft choices next year. This is why he's doing it. The reason that those compensation picks, this is so well designed by him. Look at all these moves that they got to make in the next 2 years. And with the picks that they have coming up, they're going to need all these picks. Personally, they're going to need them all because you got to replace them. And by the way, I'm not saying they can't because they have. Okay? This is not a conversation. No, they have. They've done it. Okay? It's not a rip. It's not a rip. All right. We are going to look at the divisions 1 month out from the start of training camp. I mean, we're just about a month out because the Hall of Fame guys get to go to practice early for the Hall of Fame game this year. We're going to look at the divisions, AFC, NFC. I'm going to tell you my playoff teams. I've changed some things around a bit, especially in lieu of free agency. So hit the like button. Hour number 3 coming up. Keep it